So that's the worst you're gonna do after the summer.
Yeah, I'm not on wood. It hasn't hit me yet. Like the kids are sick. It's like,
It's about like all.
Whatever it is. This is one of those things, even if you don't think it's fair, something you just gotta live with.
Right.
Still be hard to hurt the
I don't
cats.
know how I did that.
He likes to come in right,
Especially away from the sun.
All the time in high school, for the one day we were at the end, my grandma was happy. My way in the bottom.
Ready to go?
All right.
They never got to do that.
I hereby call to order this Milburn CC School District 24 Board of Education Committee of the Whole meeting at 7:01. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Tom Renson,
Here.
Brendan Murphy.
Here.
Peter Petrini,
Here.
Julian Pope. Here. Don Ruggles,
Here.
Fred Skepstrom, and Lisa Brewster. Here.
All right, rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comments?
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any additional information or discussion items that anyone wants to bring up? No? All right. First reading of board policies.
I skimmed it. It looked good to me. Some of them were pretty short.
Yeah, these are a lot of the same, blow out the footnotes, they're deleting on the majority of these. Nothing. Nothing that would affect anything.
Okay. All right, well. Any other comments? No? Application for facilities use fee.
Okay, so we are proposing to update our facilities use form. Primarily, the biggest change on there would be the charge for custodial time. So people that rent our facilities are charged if we're not in session and need to do extra cleaning or have somebody on duty, which if someone comes on a Saturday or off hours, we have to, our insurance requires us to have someone in the building to monitor it. That's for, fire. If something happens with the water, something shut off, and plus it's just a good idea to keep somebody in the building. So we upped it from $37 an hour to $40 per hour for custodial overtime, which is the average of what our district pays for custodial overtime. Okay. So that's it. We haven't done any other adjustments on it. Questions?
Registration fees.
Okay, registration fees. We are proposing to increase 10% our registration fees. So in front of you, I have, sorry, I cannot get a chance to put it to link it online. But looking at early childhood, moving from $125 to $138. And kindergarten through fifth grade, $175 to $193. iPad protection fee from $20 to $22. Sixth through eighth grade, $200 to $215, or actually it was $195 to $215, I believe. And then PE shirts are $6. If you want a second, or shorts are $9. I'm sorry. And then again, iPad protection fee $22. That's a recommendation. Again, board doesn't have to do that. It's okay. That's just my recommendation to keep pace with inflation. We have not raised these fees for a very, very, very long time. I believe it's been 15 years. maybe not quite that long, 14 years. So. We will have this presented at the next board meeting for approval. The next item is the activity fees, again, 10% increase, so for all of our extracurricular activities like soccer, volleyball, track, etc., going from $150 to $165 per person, per student, per activity. For clubs, before and after school clubs at both the elementary and middle school, moving from $50 to $55.
We talked at one point about multiple kids, families with multiple kids. What, do we ever come to any agreement on that, or was that just discussion?
We have not come to an
Okay.
agreement.
All right,
It only impacts a very small percentage of our families.
Yep.
It does impact some people, but does not impact a significant number. I don't know if that matters or not. Also, doesn't. We can talk about it, but the cost, there's no cost differential for us. There's no efficiencies picked up by having kids. The cost is the cost for on our end, and if we want to encourage more kids to do it, I would say to participate, I would say having maybe pay for 2 activities, and then the third is 3 more.
Were you talking about the activities or the registration? I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about registration.
no, the activity,
Activities.
yeah,
I definitely wouldn't do it for clubs, because there's a high
Right,
demand
right.
for clubs. We're turning kids away for clubs this year. It's great. Yep.
Don't make it.
We keep making more clubs and they keep filling up, so. But that,
Awesome.
at that price at $55 for 10 sessions, that's pretty good deal for after school clubs. It's a really good deal for parents, knowing, having experienced other organizations and paying for kids' stuff after school. All this is excellent. And we want kids to participate in, as far as activities, we want them to try different activities in middle school as much as possible. For students that aren't able to afford it, we cover their costs as well, so that we can do that. So, because we want kids to explore different options and try to connect with school, so. That's the deal. We are, I put it in my board notes, can't remember, but we're hovering around 60%, I believe, of covering the cost through fees for sports. And that's down from, we were at 100% 14 years ago, but that's because we had to. So this is to try and keep a little bit of a pace around that 60-ish percent covering the cost with fees. Again, board's choice, but my recommendation is to keep plugging away so we don't have to all of a sudden move from what we did at one point from $40 to $150. That was not fun. Any further questions about that? Okay, district goals. District goals. I'm gonna give a very brief update on our district goals. We are midway through the year. Nope, not that one. Second. Up. Okay, so. Our district goals this year, if you recall, we had an academics goal, we had a connections goal, we had facilities and finance goal. Our academics goal was for ELA and math on the NWEA for growth to be above the 60th percentile. On our latest winter MAP scores, our math is 64% percentile growth. And ELA is 54 percentile growth. So we're headed in the right direction. Math, we're above that. ELA, we're a little below. So hopefully we'll catch up here in the next couple months. The math is important because I was expecting a little bit more of a dip because we're implementing a new curriculum, kindergarten through 8th grade this year. And oftentimes there can be, as you're getting into a new curriculum and learning about it, our teachers don't keep the same pace as they normally would because they're trying to get used to new materials, but our teachers have done a great job of really digging into it, working hard and pushing our kids. And it is tough. And there's been some frustration and we've worked through it so far. So that was good to see. I also didn't know if the new math curriculum would align as closely to the map, what the map tests. So what the map scores or NWEA assesses is a little bit different than what the Illinois assessment for readiness assesses. Just the format and it's just a different assessment. So whether or not we'd see that reflected here versus the IAR, time will tell, but I expected this to not be as good.
So which one is this?
This is math. Math. Yep. MAP would give 3 times a year, fall, winter, spring. So this is fall to winter growth. And our kids really did very well.
So this is only, this isn't year over year, and this
This is not year over year. No. Nope, I do year over year with spring scores. So when we get the final cut in the spring, then I'll do the year over year. But I did look at past years where we ended up, and our scores are already pretty close in the ballpark of where we usually end up. So we're right there. In fact, in 8th grade, our 8th grade scores right now, our average RIT score, which is the measurement of each student's numeric score, is above what some grade levels were in the past.
So you don't typically see a bigger growth between coming off of summer to now than year over year?
Year over year is bigger. Should be the biggest growth.
I think when they start school and they've been off all summer, maybe they don't score so well at the beginning of the year, you know what I'm saying? So
Oh, yeah, I go spring to spring. So you're getting the same interval of learning constant over time. Yeah, it's a good question. There's all kinds of measurements and ways to look at it. Okay, so that was our academic goal. We also talked about connection with our families and our community. How do we connect with each other and create some opportunities for connection for parents and staff, as well as parents with staff, parents with kids. We had planned 7 parent universities. We've done 5 out of the 7 so far. We've had anxiety and co-regulation is coming up in March. That'll be March 3rd. We had Schoology in the fall, executive functioning in the fall. We had our Martin Luther King celebration last month. We had one on taxes and funding in the fall. We had one on phone safety in the fall, right when school started. We had an additional time with our Epic Parent Group, ran a book study on The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. And that happened a couple weeks ago. And we had about 20 plus parents show up, plus some presenters, plus staff. So that was a great showing for that. That was bonus. That's something again planned that people just said, hey, I've read this book. Let's push it out. And Epic did read that book. And some of you borrowed it, looked at it as well. And then we've done an internet safety in the fall. So those are some opportunities. In addition to that, those are planned for this year that are different. We have our middle school or elementary school showcase coming up, where we invite parents and kids to come in, and kids get to show off what they're doing at school. It's really, really a neat experience and very well attended. We have different epic events. We have back to school night and other events that happen throughout the year. So more and more opportunities, and starting to see more people come back into the school and interact with each other, which is a good thing in my opinion. So that was goal number 2, is connection. And then goal number 3 was facilities and finance. So our finances are doing okay. We're still chugging away, and hopefully we might have a balanced budget at the end of this year. We're tracking it. It's going to be close, as we said at the beginning of the year. But we've really focused on facilities. And when we're talking about our facilities and our priorities with our facilities, it's first of all our HVAC system, keep the kids warm, or in the winter, cool in the summer. We've done some upgrades this year with our HVAC, and we're looking at potentially doing more, getting quotes on the oldest section of the building, trying to get that section up to date with digitally, and to get it up to speed, because the control panels that are inside each of the units over there, which there's 36 units, I think, in that section of the building, they don't make them anymore. They haven't made them for a while. So when a unit goes down, we have to take that control panel out. We send it to the manufacturer. They have to rebuild it and send it back. And you can imagine that's super expensive rather than just plugging in a new one. So they're becoming way too expensive to maintain, and parts are impossible to find. So we're looking at what will it take to get new units in that oldest section of the building. That way, and the controls and the system, how it can communicate, how we can monitor it, how we can be more efficient, how we heat and cool that side. So that's been a big project. Another one is our roofs. So with this building, this section of the building being now 26 years old, it's starting to show its wear, as with the carpet, and we're getting some of the we've done some of the hallway work to try and maintain some sense of, I don't know, less wear. It just gets worn out. So we have to maintain that and make this a nice place for people to come into and for our kids to enter. But also the roof is starting to be problematic. They're warranted for 20 years, I believe, and we're at 26 years. So we're looking at how soon do we have to replace it? What are the options? If we can replace it with a top layer going right over the top of it, and we can get, we can choose to do a 15-year, 25-year, 30-year, 40-year layer on top. That would be the most cost effective. Give us a nice long time before we have to do anything else with the roof other than little repairs. So, but we have to do that before there's too much damage. So we're getting the infrared survey done, where they go on top of the roof with a drone, do an infrared survey, and determine if there's wet spots. And then we've had them come out last week and do core sampling, where they drill down to see different spots if it's wet under there, if it's good enough, or if there's just some spots that are wet and they can cut them out and patch it, repair it, great. It'll save us millions of dollars. So it's a lot. It's a lot, but we're chipping away at that process. Again, we're doing some work at the MMS. The gym floor is being redone. You're supposed to do that every 10 to 15 years, and we're at year 20 now, so that's being done and has to be done, or we're already worn through the varnish on the top of the floor. The finish is worn through. We're down to the wood, and so if we didn't do it this year, we'd have bigger problems. we're doing that along with some other, the media center here, carpet and other little projects, just to keep us maintained and nice looking.
A question on the HVAC systems. So, replace them all with stuff. What's the decommissioning process on those? Are they going to scrap? I've seen them in some other schools. Would one of them be interested in purchasing all the units? Because they might not have the money to upgrade their system and they can offload and make a few bucks, or what happens to them once?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. We can definitely ask that. Yep. If there's minimally, it would go to scrap, I'm assuming. So anytime they do work on a building and there's tear offs or deconstruction, goes to scrap anything valuable, somebody will take
Like
it.
if another district or school could use them now, I could technically foresee fast tracking that process of our upgrade if we know we can get a few bucks for.
Sure.
Even if they just part them out. for the future.
The controllers are that expensive.
What's that?
If the controllers are that expensive.
Yeah,
Somebody would probably wanna buy them.
that's true. Cause they're working today,
Yeah.
better than not. Yep, we'll definitely ask. It's another reason why I'm a little anxious about the roofs, because if you tear off, it's a lot of waste of all that material. Whereas if we can go right on top with another thin layer, we don't have to replace all the insulation, tear all that off, start over. Plus, depending on what years this was built and which code it falls under, you have to increase the insulation layers. And so you're adding more material to the top of it. So,
Yeah, fiberglass in there, rock wool, There's a secondhand market for rock wool too, so.
I don't think we have rock. Fairly confident of that, but maybe.
It's
the
nice that we
oldest
think
site-
that way, but I feel like we're the school trying to get someone else's.
Generally, by the time we get rid of stuff, it's pretty trashed, but. It's, yeah, someone might need it.
Jason, for the academics, for the reading 54%, do we know specifically what that's, like, what the standards were that our students missed? Or like what part of reading that,
We
Main-
can't, mhm.
yeah, the
I
main-
don't offhand, but.
no, yeah, I was just like, but we have that data somewhere for like our
Mhm.
teachers and stuff,
Definitely.
okay, yeah.
Yep.
I know nationally, like, the country is down in reading, so I mean, it's not surprising, but, I was just curious to see.
And this is growth.
Yeah, it's
so,
growth, yeah,
yeah.
but, even so, just.
Yeah.
Like how much more we can get to that, I know reading's a struggle across all the grades right now.
Yeah,
Well, I like all the growth
yeah, reading is a struggle, and I think there's multiple factors.
to it, yeah.
Drop this off here. So yes, we're working on an amended budget. We'll probably look at finalizing that around April, we talked about. It could be the last activity of this board's configuration before handing it off to the next board, but that's what we're shooting for. We don't want to do it too soon because things can happen. We have different variables that are in place all the time that we don't have control over, so. Kids can move in with needs that we weren't anticipating, kids get out. Or we're placing students with significant needs outside of our school district as little as possible, but there are times when that happens and that does increase our budget. Or sub costs are somewhat flexible too. So that's where we're at with the amended budget. Superintendent report,
Superintendent report.
all things this week are weather related. So the timing is gonna be interesting Wednesday to see what happens. Right now, the way it looks, it's gonna start snowing a little bit, real light in the morning and then pick up toward the later afternoon time. So one consideration would be to do an early dismissal and cancel all after school activities. We would keep MBAC open as long as parents wanted to and just encourage them to get their kids as quick as possible because our MBAC employees, some of them live in McHenry and would want to get home as well. But we want to make sure the kids are tucked in, safe and sound, so that would be the main concern there. If it continues the way it's supposed to continue, that's an opportunity or a likely situation.
What time is there like a set time?
One,
One?
is it 1:30? Yeah, it's a 1 and 1:40.
140.
It'd be 1 and 1:40,
For an early.
just like an early dismissal.
Oh,
That still counts as a full school.
It was
Yeah.
still count as a full school day. It would just help us get kids out with less traffic on the road.
is there a time that you usually try and make that decision by? Like noon or? less?
Of that day.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be
It'd
early.
be, oh, it'd be,
Cause you would structure the classes that way too, then they'd do the early dismissal
I
schedule.
would probably make that decision either very early that morning or even the day before, depending on how it looks. Because early dismissal is easier to call and make plans ahead of time. Just to let parents know. We've done it before where it's been an hour, hour notice, and that gets real tricky. And I don't like,
all right.
if parents are working in Northbrook, let's say, and are trying to get back up here and the roads are bad already. And we're trying to drop the kids off, it just doesn't work. It's not realistic, so.
What do you do if you hit that situation the day before you say we're doing early dismissal tomorrow?
Yep.
And
Sunshine,
parents just can't get there. Do we have someone hanging out with the kids?
Yeah,
and
we'll
they can
leave-
Stay later?
yep, we'll leave them back open for elementary kids. So the parents can get here. And we won't charge like for typical early dismissals. I think it's a different, well, I know it's a different charge, I don't know what number it's, but. It's a higher charge, we just charge the regular everyday after school rate. That parents can. Use for that.
So that's not really that disruptive then if the kids can stay.
Not super. For the timing of what it looks like, that would make the most sense at this moment, but weather changes, as it turns out. I have no idea how to predict, so. That's what I'm thinking for now. Originally, it looked like it was gonna be Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and I thought maybe we'd be doing a 2-hour late start on Thursday morning and trying that, but now it's looking earlier. My guess is it's gonna be pushed later. I don't know. We'll find out. Probably be 2 inches and everybody will be disappointed. I hope we get at least 4 inches. Because I'd like to use my skis.
And your shovel, everyone wants a shovel.
Right.
Mine is not.
No, I don't mind as long as there's time. There's time.
I'm not doing that.
I'll be communicating out either way to parents tomorrow. And our next parent university is next Tuesday night, so I'll also be sending a sign up for that. That's gonna be on restorative practices, so if you're interested in finding out what restorative practices is at Milburn, what does that mean? How do we do that? Why do we do it? Come on, and that's be a good, quick session. That's all I got.
Business office report.
So just a quick bit of exciting news. Epic has offered to purchase a sound system for the elementary East Jack. So yeah, it's great.
Mr. Walshire, Tom O'Landys, and I have been meeting with different AP companies and to get quotes. So in the next board meeting, I'll be presenting those quotes to you and asking for approval to go ahead and purchase this sound system.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's been real bad. Yep.
I think last year, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yep, I know. It's a little embarrassing. It's hard when you can't hear the kids, when they work so hard to put something together and then you can't hear them. It's frustrating.
So I understand on that project that. So like there's multiple, to do all 3 parts though, Epic doesn't necessarily have the money for all that right now. So there's the East Gym here, right? And then there's also part of the middle school. Yes, no? To do. And then, so like Epic has. So they definitely have 50K, but wanted to wait until after Local Madness, so that maybe we fill the remainder as board. So do it all at once, one supplier, just.
Well, our initial, work was definitely these gyms because of the concerts and things like that. And we did have a company come out and just look at our cafeteria in West Jim. And just kind of see if those systems were all installed at the same time as the East Gym. But we're kind of prioritizing the East Gym. Yeah, we're only gonna quote for the other two. So.
While we're out here working. Do it all. So. Depending on the price.
Right.
Yeah, sure. That's it. All right. Board reports. You want to do anything fun then over the last 2 weeks? Well, I went to a choir concert and I know you were there because I saw you there.
Yeah. I was there. I could, honestly, I couldn't hear them very well.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
I went with my mom and she's like, the projection, there's projection issues.
Yeah.
So maybe we also need to get a sound system in there too. Yeah, and then the 8th graders went skiing the night before. So my daughter ran into a sign. Yes, ran into a sign skiing and then had to go sing the next night, so.
Mine had to be pulled from a bush by a friend.
Really?
That was really fun. It was their first time skiing as well.
All right, anything else? Nope, okay. I know you're all looking forward to this. We do have closed session tonight. I'm gonna stop. So, stop. No, you gotta read first. All right. I need a motion to go into closed session to look at item number 1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this Act 5 ILCS 120-2C1, and the setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body, 5 ILCS 120-2C6.
So moving.
All right, we need a roll call? Yes. Madam Secretary?
John Benson,
Yes.
Brendan Murphy,
Yes.
Peter Petrini.
Yes.
Jillian Phelps.
Yes.
John Riddles.
Yes.
Fred Stepstrom.
Yes.
And Lisa Brewster.
Yes.
All right. We're gonna enter into closed session. There's gonna be no action taken other than adjournment when we reopen, so I'm gonna cut the feed to YouTube.